Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you are tuning in. My name is Jonathan Torres-Herrera, and you are watching or listening to the JTH show. Today, let's talk about why there is no more Aunt Jemima, National Anthem, or even breastfeeding. Yeah, but first, roll the intro. All right. Well, welcome back to another episode, season 2 of the JTH show. Today, let's talk about a couple of stories that we came across while doing our research, starting with essentially a lot of no more of anything. And the whole thing, in my opinion, of course, has a lot of, support from both sides, right? Of people saying this is why all this should go away, and then you're gonna have a lot of people saying this is bullshit. You're basically trying to change everyone's way of living to kind of cater to your feelings and your needs and your beliefs, right? Again, these are, in my mind at least, I see two groups of people mainly. Now there's gonna be a smaller group in the middle that says, hey, you know what? There are some things that need to change, right? Just makes sense, right? For us to upgrade a little bit, as Josh put it out, earlier when we were doing the whole prep. But before we go into the stories for today, remember you can catch this episode and any episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Radio Public. If you are already listening there, thank you very much. In addition, you have no idea how much it would help if you guys just hit that like button and ring the notification for the episodes when you hit the subscription button. And if you have already done all that, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm not just saying this, just because it's something that everyone tells and it's fucking bullshit. I mean it. Like, thank you. It means a lot for you to do that. And with that, let's jump into this first story. Shall we, Josh?
Yeah, let's get right to it, shall we? So do you want me to go into this one?
Yeah. Go to the first one.
Right. So this one's from the Daily Wire. It's become a bit of a staple on the show. Basically, chest feeding hospitals tell midwives to change language to accommodate trans community. Okay, let's go into this and let's see what it says. So in Great Britain, a group of hospitals has instructed midwives in their maternity departments to use different terms when treating transgender patients in order to be more gender exclusive, substituting chest feeding for breastfeeding and replacing breast milk with human milk or breast-chest milk or milk from the feeding mother or parent. I'm sorry about laughing. It just sounds funny. Human milk. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe one day they'll look back, and I'll be seen as a bigot. But human milk just sounds a little funny to me.
Yeah, it wasn't. The thing that is that it wasn't human milk before, man. Before, it was mother's milk, and mother's, I guess, necessarily is not as inclusive to humans, which I know many people are gonna be like, "What the did you just say?" Yeah, you heard you heard it right. It's just one of those things that apparently now, if you, according to this, if you don't use the term human or just parent, it doesn't really include everyone. Now, Josh is, having its laugh, and I am too. And yes, we know many people will be like, yo, you're reading it from the Daily Wire. That's why. Ben Shapiro and the fucking Republicans and the conservatives. I know. Listen, I am one of those people. Like I've always said, I'm somewhere in the middle because I try to see, the actual facts, and I use some of that critical thinking in saying, hey, there are some stuff that should change. Now, if you were to ask me about this, like this specific topic, I don't know. Like Josh said, it's just kind of stupid. I mean, overall, it really just is. Now, let's go a little bit more into the article, right? So we can understand more as to why this hospital, or at least it looks like it might be a couple hospitals in general, are trying to do this. Mm-hmm. So the article adds that the terms like chest feeding and human milk are being introduced at the NHS Trust in a bid to boost inclusivity. Bristol Live reports staff have been asked to use gender-neutral language alongside instead of traditional terms to ensure that all groups are represented. See,
that you see, if to being inclusive of whatever you identify as, like we were talking about before, like there's a group of people that identify as chairs, I'm absolutely fine with that. It has no real repercussion directly on me whatsoever. So if I want to identify like that, that's absolutely fine. But let's think about logic here just for a moment. I believe, or I have the understanding that only women, or only biological women, are actually able to produce breast milk. They have ovaries, they have a uterus, they're able to menstruate, they're able to bear children. I think that is a solid fact. And I hope if there's scientists that are watching this show, please comment or correct me if I'm wrong. But that is a fact. If a trans woman, I believe that a trans woman, unfortunately for them, does not have the power to be able to create breast milk or human milk or chest milk or whatever you want to call it. Please comment below. But what were you going to say, JT? Sorry.
No, I was going to ask, or rather state that yes, you are right about pretty much everything you just said. That women, that were assigned the gender female at birth, right, can do everything you just said, or can they? Right? Because now there's going to be a lot of arguments about if a trans woman goes through all the possible, at least currently in modern day, changes, to her biology, that actually makes her a woman. And the argument will be that if they are, by all intents and purposes, now labeled as a woman, right, they should be able to somehow, I don't know how, right, bear children and breastfeed, which is the example I was giving Josh earlier, right? And this is an extreme example, and I want you guys to just keep an open mind because we have heard worse stories, okay? Here's my take on this. What's going to potentially happen is that there is going to be someone, all right, that will try to say, I'm going to breastfeed or chest feed my baby because, yes, I was born a man, but now I'm a woman. I've gone through all the procedures, right? All the sexual organ procedures that I can possibly go through, and I will breastfeed my child. And you will say, and you can say right now, JT, it's an extreme example. Stop. There have been parents already, right, charged for an example, negligence because they thought their child needed to be vegan or vegetarian or something like that, and the child died, right? There has been many examples of people that take their beliefs, right, to an extreme where they affect their child, right? And it's my child. I can do whatever I want with them. That's kind of like the mentality of many people. And, I do foresee something happening along the lines of a child being malnourished or in worst case scenario, in danger of dying because you have someone that says, I should be able to chest feed, right? I mean, nothing actually comes out, but, I believe in God or something. I don't know, something extreme example. And the question here is, how far do we take it as society? How inclusive do we want to be when it comes to, including everyone? Everyone now can have a baby, no matter your sex. It doesn't really matter what biologically you're able to do or not. It doesn't matter, right? So do I believe people have the right to change their sex? Yes. Okay, I'm going to leave it there very clear. By all means, you were born biologically speaking a man, and now you feel that you want to change over to being a woman or now any number of genders. Do you? Right? You don't need my approval. I don't need to even understand it. Do you? Go ahead, right? I do see and foresee problems when you start incorporating children, right? And having people that for one reason or another don't want to offend someone else, another grown up, and saying, no, you can totally chest feed. And it's like, no, you can't, because you don't have certain glands, right, that allow you to do that. And I know that this article not necessarily touches on that, right? Doesn't necessarily say now that it's not saying that men should be able to breastfeed, although there are some people out there that do believe that, right? And, you know, the whole thing that we cannot call breast now is, to me, a little bit insane as well, right? I don't know a lot of women out there that I have at least heard that they don't want their breast referred as breast. I've heard a lot of like free the titty movements, you know, like they don't want to wear bras. And you know what? Do you? Whatever, man. You know, that's what you want. What? Go ahead. Go right ahead. Right? I've heard a lot of people saying, hey, we should be able to breastfeed, and I should say women, breastfeed my child in public. And I had videos, right, before of that, you know, that you should be able to. Now, I don't know that you should be able to right in front of a camera with other people in class, like that one video I had, but you should be able to breastfeed openly, sure, right? But here we're talking about completely removing the term breast and calling it chest feeding. I don't know. Like, that's something that, you know, I'm thinking, where does it stop? Where are we going to start using common sense here, or critical thinking, and saying, all right, come on, enough with the whole relabeling everything just because it makes me feel more comfortable. You know, because again, for that argument earlier that I said, if you start relabeling, changing every single aspect for one group, you're going to have an opposing group that says, fuck off. You're changing my whole world as well, right? Just because you want to feel more inclusive. And then here you have all these companies that, don't make any mistake, ladies and gentlemen, they're not there to cater, not cater, I shouldn't say cater, to make anybody feel good. They're there to make sure that your wallets are open to them. It's not really that they care about you, right? Which with that, unless you have something else for this story, let's go into the next one, Josh, now that we're talking about companies.
Right. Yeah, no, I was just going to finish this one off just a little bit. I was going to say, I hope someone who is smart enough to realize that they were not born the correct, because it's not like you just go to the doctor's office and it's just like, you know what? One penis removal, please, or something like that. It's not as simple as that. They have to live as a year. It's not just a spur of the moment thing. And I hope, I'm not actually sure if there's any trans people watching. Comment below, like I said. Please let us know if they do tell you before the operation or any detail about the procedure, like saying you will be recognized as a woman, however, you won't be able to make breast milk, and you won't be able to menstruate or carry a child. Is that in the T's and C's? Let me know, or let us know, and let's talk about it. But like you said, let's move on to the next story from TMZ, I believe, right?
TMZ. You know, that was like one of those sites as well that keeps on giving. You know, listen, it's really fun to see some of these articles come out of TMZ sometimes. Because they are pressing buttons, or at least that's what I feel that they're trying to do, right? See what people, how people get quote unquote triggered, like they say now. But this one did exactly that for me. And here's why. You guys might have already seen over the last probably 2 years that a whole bunch of companies started changing their slogans, their logos. I mean, everything. There's even the whole remove essentially all the mascots, I don't know what the hell you want to call them, from a lot of Mexican brands. I was actually asking Josh earlier, and he said he's seen it, right? Where you have a lot of them gone. Right. And, it's like, okay, well, that happened here in the U.S. too. Who remembers Aunt Jemima? Okay. Well, Aunt Jemima, the actual logo, right, is gone. I actually have a bottle here at home, and it's fucking gone, all right? I had my 2 cents over it. I understood the community. I'm like, all right, whatever. I don't like the idea. I think it's overkill. But okay, fine. Let it be, right? Again, I had my opinion, but let it be. It wasn't enough. It was not enough. No, ladies and gentlemen. Now, according to TMZ, and by the way, this is not just TMZ. I'm thinking they're trying to do satire. I think it's been around, it's floating around. It's an historic day for all Americans, according to the article, who love pancakes. The quote, Aunt Jemima is officially out, and Pearl Milling Company is in. Is it Milling or Milling?
I think it's milling. I think that makes sense.
Sorry, yeah. Pearl Milling Company. PepsiCo, the parent company of the syrup giant, announced Tuesday it is starting a new day with Pearl Milling Company, rooted in the brand's historic beginnings and its mission to create moments that matter at the breakfast table. That's a lot of corporate speak for we scraped Aunt Jemima and created a new logo that's still tied to history, but without the stereotype image of a black woman in a scarf in the kitchen, which that's not accurate either from TMZ. That logo of a black woman with a headscarf hasn't been a logo for quite a while, right? They redesigned the whole logo to a more modern looking one. Now, the article also added that PepsiCo filed to trademark the new logo on February 1st. You'll recall last summer, the company said Jemima had to go after it took a look at all the brands to ensure they reflect values and meet our customers' expectations. So, man, listen. The old logo, the retired old logo of 1989, according to this image here, sure, I understand where some people were feeling like, hey, that still has a hard representation, right? Of the, I guess what they were called mammies back in the 1800s, which is essentially a black servant in a white household. The Aunt Jemima figure was portrayed by a real life woman named Nancy Green, who had actually been born into slavery. So I get it, right? And then they redesigned it, give it a more modern looking one. When I see the old one, the old logo of Aunt Jemima and the new one, I don't see the mammy. I just don't, right? I see in the new logo of Aunt Jemima a black woman, right? As a spokesperson, a spokeswoman, or for the brand, right? And that's all I see. I don't see a mammy. I can see how the original logo in the 80s was offensive, right? To still hold to this day. I completely get that. I just don't see it in the new logo. Okay, fine. The logo went away altogether for the last year or maybe 2 years. And then all of a sudden now it's like, that's not enough. We have to get rid of Aunt Jemima just altogether, completely, right? Because somehow the name still represented in some way oppression or something like that, and it's just syrup. I get it. Some people say, well, what the fuck, dude? What are you worried about? It's just syrup. Sure. I'm not looking at just the syrup, right? Just like earlier we said, and I'll keep saying it, right? From the previous story, where does it stop? Where do people get told to shut the up and just, move on with their lives, right? It's you cannot change every single thing that you feel offended by. And you say, well, it's not just me, it's hundreds. Dude, in Spanish we have a saying, que para un pinche loco siempre hay otro loco. There's always going to be somebody that, for one reason or another, they feel sorry for you, they agree with you, they I don't know, whatever, right? They want to kiss your ass, they'll agree with you. But where does it stop? Again, you have in Mexico, a lot of brands are just removing, all the mascots. Why? Because the fucking Osito Panda, or it's not a panda, it's actually a bear, polar bear, right? From Bimbo is like offensive. It's like a white bear. Where is the black bear, Josh? Where is the black bear? What about the brown bear? Why does it have to be a white bear?
It's a really good question. I don't know who chose that one. But anyway, yeah, I'm trying to be really empathetic here because I get I get that we give a lot of, we give meaning to what we see, right? Like, remember when we spoke about the BLM banner being burned? In my mind, that's just a bit of fabric that you give power to.
Right.
It's the same thing. You see it as just a black woman, It could be, a very strong black woman, an empowered black woman. But a lot of people, I guess they see oppression. I guess they see years of oppression of a certain type of people. Do I get that? Yeah, I do get that. I understand that. Do I think that their anger is poorly placed and there are other things that should be, or there are other things that should be looked at beforehand, like more institutional racism and stuff like that? Sure, it might be a small win in the long run, but there's bigger fish to fry in the fight, in my opinion. But if it really meant that much to them that they had to take this to court, it's in their right. It's in their constitutional right to be able to do so.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they're a private company and stuff like that and all that good jargon. But here's the thing, right, that I'll say to trying to essentially delete, eradicate, burn, whatever term you want to use, history, right? Someone tried to do that already, right? People say it all the time. That's one of the first things Hitler tried to do, right? Mm-hmm. Is get rid of history that he didn't agree with. Okay? And many other civilizations have tried to do that. Now, what happens in modern day is that you'll have a lot of people that will somehow get their hands on maybe the last piece or a very, very concealed piece of history, right? And say, hey, this is almost forgotten because so many people have tried to oppress it. So many people have tried to delete it, right, out of memory. And then they try to bring that up and say, oh, how come we're not talking about this? How come we're not talking about that? Oh, look at all these pictures. Look at all these documents I found, right? Well, don't you think that the same shit's going to happen in probably 100 years from now, 50 years from now, and they will blame this? They will blame this generation and say, oh, that's a generation that tried to delete history from us, meaning, again, people in 50, 100 years from now. That's the generation that tried to basically conceal everything and bury it. Right now, it looks like, oh, I'm woke. Right now, it looks like, oh, I'm trying to correct history. To you, in 50 to 100 years from now or more, you'll look like somebody that's tried to not correct history, that will try to conceal history. Oh, they try to delete all the bad, memory of slaves, and they'll try to delete all the bad memory of, or at least here in the United States, of course, right? Can't speak for the rest of the world, but at least here in the United States, that's what it'll look like, right? And again, people don't see that. People don't see that because right now they live in the right this effing second. And for that matter, they live in this moment that suits their agenda, right? Leave it up. Leave all that shit up. It's the same thing with the statues, right? Leave it up. Put another statue right next to it. I don't know if you saw that bull statue that's in New York in Wall Street, and then some other artist put a little girl in front of the bull. That's how you handle art, man. The bull there, many people said, oh, it symbolizes machismo and, this patriarch, or whatever term they use, right? To symbolize men. And it's like, we need like a woman representation. Not that the bull can represent women, but okay. So what did an artist do? He went, I believe it was a he. He went to go put a statue of a little girl. If I find it, I'll put it somewhere here. Right? And I was like, hey, great. Right? Because he didn't demand that the bull be taken down so that the little statue of the girl can be there. He's like, I'm going to add it to it, right? Add to history, not delete history. You want to have something that represents the opposite of whatever statue out there bothers you? Add to it. Right? In this Aunt Jemima case, what you can do? Because I know they have the money for this, by the way. And it's by the way, if you guys didn't know, it's PepsiCo, which Quaker is involved. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of companies with money. Companies, if you're listening, if you really want to make a effing change, update your websites with this history. Add it on the bottle. It's going to cost you because every bottle's going to have a little piece of history. But you really want to change that? Why? Add it to the fucking bottle. Add it to your products. And say, this is, who Aunt Jemima was. This is why we chose it. Don't run away from it because now you're just concealing it. Now you can delete everything from Aunt Jemima. It'll be on Wikipedia somewhere, buried, but that's about it. Right? But the websites now, or the companies rather, can walk away and say, oh, it's our old logos. It's our old this. We are not that anymore. Again, you're concealing history. Right? Why not own up and say, this is why we chose a mammy? This is what we know. This is why we chose it. This is who we are. You like our products. We're more woke now, but this is who we are. We're not going to run away from it. Instead of just pleasing the masses, changing everything, literally the company name, and then you can just not take any responsibility for it. Changing the company name and the fucking logo is not taking responsibility. Anybody that thinks that is, you're a fucking moron. I'm sorry. Just think about how your grandchildren are going to look at it. Your great-grandchildren. Oh, it looks like my grandma and my great-granddaddy or whatever, they were just trying to conceal it. They were just trying to, erase history from us.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of actually thinking about it. It's the same kind of mentality of those people who are pretty much shouting outside poll or voting stations, "Stop the vote." It's because it didn't fit their agenda. They were like, "Oh crap. Stop counting. Gee, stop. It's like it doesn't really make any sense to me personally. I think it's something that we have, well, not to be celebrated, but it is something that we do have to bear in mind, something that we have to own up to and try and make ourselves better for instead of trying to hide it.
Yeah, because it existed, man. Like, you cannot run away from it. It's part right. of human history. You know what I mean? Like, if an example, right? Let's just hypothetically here think for a second. In 20, 30, 50, 100, tomorrow, who knows, aliens land. Somehow aliens are really stupid to come here, right? Side note, I don't know what fucking alien would ever want to interact with us, but whatever. That's my point of view. This the shit that we deal with, we're not ready for what's out there, but whatever. Okay, they come here. They're that stupid, okay? And hey, tell us a little bit about you guys. All right? How do you explain all the bullshit without looking like we're just trying to hide it to them? Right? Think about it. Use that brain. Think. You're explaining to someone, to an alien, right? That's not a baby, but it's an alien. They have a brain. They understand language, again, in this imaginary world of mine. And you're explaining everything almost at every single turn. You can justify it and make it pretty however you look, but at the end of the day, you're going to be saying, "Oh, but we did this atrocity, but we tried to change it into this. Oh, we did this shit, but we tried to do it into this." Essentially, it's like we try to conceal it at every single freaking turn, right? Instead of educating our children into doing something better and to not rewriting history, right? Just be making better history to come. Instead of trying to focus on the past and be like, "Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. Erase, 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 erase. Don't look at that." That's what essentially we would have to explain, right? Now, here's another quick thing that I forgot to mention from the previous article. The whole chest feeding. This is their idea, okay? This is their idea. Who else did this in history that you can think of, all right? In that same article, right, they said that the NHS, right, Trust asks, what can you do to support trans and non-binary parents? The poster answers. This fucking poster that someone came up with, okay? They say, ask all service users about their pronouns and offer pronoun, ready, stickers to trans and non-binary people. Who else suggested that we should mark people if they were different? Ring a bell? Anybody? Anybody out there? So now, just imagine for a second, because everything like this starts some fucking where, and then all of a sudden someone thinks it's a great idea, and then it's adopted everywhere. You walk into a hospital nowadays, right? Fucking doors open. Psst, you walk in. I'm sorry, where are you here? Oh, I'm here to see room 405. Oh, right this way. Oh, I'm sorry, very quickly. Are you... And you're like, excuse me? You are a man? Oh, God, thank God. Okay, a man. You're like, what is that? Oh, it's a man sticker. Okay. Next person walks in. Excuse me, Mr. Miss. And you're like, oh, no, I'm trans. Oh, okay, good. Right? What's going to happen next? Josh, where's your sticker? Where's your sticker, Josh? I don't know what you are, man. Where is your sticker? You know, we're going to implement a policy now that if you don't have a sticker, we're going to have to kick you out of the hospital.
I think that's a bit too extreme. I think maybe it should be something. Maybe it should be something optional. I don't know.
You know, I get it. I understand that you say it should be optional, but how many things start as optional and then become the norm? The whole gender inclusivity, dude, it used to be optional for you to literally say your gender if you wanted to. You know, now it's like, it's almost like you must. And for that matter, everyone else around you must acknowledge it. Right? So I get your point and say, oh, it's, you know, probably extreme. I understand that. And I do it on purposely because I feel that most of this time, most of what happens around us starts as a very simple suggestion, idea, right? And over time, whether over weeks, months, years, it gets to the point where it's enforced now. See where I'm going with this?
I don't know. Yeah, I do see where you're going with it. It's just I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's right or what's wrong in this situation. I would like for everyone to be at least treated with respect as well.
Same here.
Yep. I'm absolutely for that. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm lost for words. No,
here's where I think happens. This right here that's happening right now. Right? Mm-hmm. Society is putting us in a position where we don't know anymore. We don't know. Like, and that is my point, right? We're sending a very dangerous message, in my opinion, to our young leaders of tomorrow, where they're not going to fucking know. They're not going to know. Like, they don't know. They're not going to know how to approach someone. They're not going to know how to interact with someone. We are in a world, and we're increasingly getting the word. We've been the most connected, right? And I think many people have said this before. We are the most connected we've ever been, but the most disconnected at the same time, right? Because we're rewriting history, changing everything, right? And at the same time, we don't know. You're not the only person that I've ever heard say, I don't fucking know, dude. Like, I don't know how to approach this situation. I don't know how to feel about it. You know? And that's exactly my point. Like, where does it all stop? Stop. So let's go real quick to the next article, because it really just rolls right underneath this whole fucking thing. Dallas Mavericks cease playing National Anthem before games at Mark Cuban's direction. This came from the athletic.com. And according to this article, the Dallas Mavericks have ceased playing the National Anthem before home games this season and do not plan to play it moving forward. A decision made by owner Mark Cuban that he had confirmed to the Athletic on Monday evening. None of their 13 preseason and regular season games played at the American Airlines Center this season have featured the anthem before the game, including Monday's game against the Minnesota Timberwolves. So listen, here's one thing that I'm going to say, right, to give you guys some balance here. It's not all fucking doom and gloom. When it comes to a song like the National Anthem, there is something there that I will say, you know what? It's not mandated, right? It doesn't necessarily have to go hand in hand, right? It's something that was incorporated God knows how many decades ago, right? It's no longer going to be played. At the same time, they're not coming up with the song to put the National Anthem song down, because that I would be against, right? It's not like Mark Cuban's like, you know what? We're no longer going to play the national anthem. We're going to play the national anthem. Then I would be like, dude, what the is wrong with you? Like, what's going on here? You know what I mean? It's just not going to be featured anymore. It's not going to be played. Do I feel like some people are still going to be pissed about it? Yeah, I would imagine so, yes, like everything else, right? So there is a balance that can happen. We won't play the national anthem at our games, right? It sounds like to me like there's going to be plenty of national antheming. I don't even know how I can say it, going around in other games, right? It's like, okay, well, there is that, right? What is the purpose here? I think like many things like Mark Cuban does, he's trying to send a message, right? And trying to say, hey, we're with an example like the kneeling, right? Of during the national anthem. So he's saying, no, not only are we not going to kneel, right? Or we are going to kneel, I guess we're going to take it a step further and we're not going to play the song anymore, right? So, and it's one of those things that, again, it's like, okay, well, again, he's not changing the national anthem like Aunt Jemima is doing, not changing the whole freaking song or not doing something against it like the first two articles. The first two articles are completely changing, right? Completely changing what we know, I guess, or some of us grew up with. In this case, the owner of the Mavericks is saying, hey, we're not gonna play the song anymore, right? That doesn't mean that you can't play it. No, I don't think that doesn't mean that you can't play it. You want to take your effing cell phone and just put the freaking cell phone to your ear and play the national anthem? I don't see how anybody's gonna freaking kick you out of the game. Again, it would be different if the guy said, hey, I don't even want that song played on your headphones. If we catch you playing the national anthem, we're gonna kick you out of the game. See, that's different. That's different. There is a difference, right? Here, the guy's saying, I'm just choosing not to play it. I'm not going to replace it. I'm not going to play a song that's against the national anthem. And I'm not putting any kind of crazy effing laws in my private, stadium or whatever arena that says that you can't hear it on your headphones. Because there's a balance. In the first two stories, we're completely changing everything. The Aunt Jemima specifically, we're completely, you're burning that fucking thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I think when you first told me about that story, I pretty much just said, okay.
Right.
that was the only reaction I had. It was like, well, if you don't want to play it, then don't play it, I guess. And he did exactly that. So right. I guess if he's trying to send a certain message to certain people, I think he's probably done it in, I guess, a classy way.
Right.
I guess you could say.
Yeah, because there's a balance. That's my point, right? There's a balance, right? To what we're saying that is changing. Like we opened up the show earlier. Things are going to change. It just, man, things have been changing, right? Probably for the last, God knows how many decades. And even before then. I mean, hell, let me take that back.
Things always change.
Yeah, since the beginning of God knows what time. But again, there's a balance, I think, right? And there is definitely, more importantly, a level of acceptance that needs to happen with this change, not just for one party. It cannot be lopsided to one side, right? It needs to be balanced to both sides. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With private companies changing their brands, not much can be done. No, that is true. Like you said earlier, they are a private company and that's their right to do that. Right. But my only argument there is they're trying to erase the history that they started, that they chose, right? In whatever era they chose to do that, is rather educate your consumer as to why and try to make up for it. Right. I would have been totally fine if they would have put a more modern version of a, like you said, empowered, successful Black individual on the bottle. I'd be like, hey, I'm all for that. That's pretty cool. Like an actual spokesperson that many companies have all the time, right? They incorporate like literally people into their brands by all means, I think that's empowering, right? But here is just completely like, let me correct this whole and make sure it doesn't exist anymore for more than anything for one group of people. Same thing with the first story about the whole chest feeding. Are you supposed to feel weird now if you say breastfeeding? So you're not supposed to use the words breastfeeding? It's completely changing. It's different. It's, and again, yes, we are modernizing, we are changing with times, blah, 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 which is why, Josh feels, and to a certain extent, I feel like I don't know anymore. Like, I don't know. Like, do I take a hard stance with this? Do I just let it shrug my shoulders and they fuck it? But, again, where's the limit? Where do we stop saying, fuck it?
Right. Yeah, I completely agree with that. And going back to that point of the Aunt Jemima story, it's definitely, it just, in this particular case, it just comes down to money. What's cheaper, erasing everything or actually trying to educate people that might not want to be educated?
Good point. Yeah, good point. Well, I think that's all the stories for today. Kind of, just it's out there, and it's our point of views, and we're not here to offend anyone. I hope you guys leave your opinion down below. Doesn't mean anybody has to agree with it, right? That's the beauty of what we've been saying here for a long time. Is this is the opinion of these folks, this is our opinion right here, and somehow we all have to manage to live together, and it can be done, right? Because that's just the only choice we have. I mean, for now we have one planet. It's like we're gonna be like, you know what? Screw this planet. I'm out of here, dude. I'm going to Pluto or Mars or Jupiter. No, we cannot.
Until Mars opens.
Yeah. Until Elon Musk gets it done. Not yet, though. Not yet. Yeah. For now, we all have to live here, and we can. At the end of the day, let's be honest. I think we're all gonna just be like, whatever, okay, and just continue on with our merry day. Am I still gonna buy Aunt Jemima? I'm not gonna lie. I'm probably am. Yeah, very likely gonna buy Aunt Jemima. Right? I don't go to. By the way, I don't go to games, but does it mean that if I didn't get free tickets to a Mavericks game, I wouldn't go? No, I'm gonna go. Right? Chest feeding. I'm gonna call it breastfeeding. I don't mean to offend anybody, but that's what I'm gonna call it, right? And I don't mean it to offend anyone. I don't. That's my preference. So I get to call it breastfeeding, and I hope we can agree that if you call it chest feeding, then we can still talk about the same conversation literally and not be like offended. We can literally have a conversation together, right? And I say, hey, when you were breastfeeding your child, blah 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 blah, and you can say, yeah, the chest feeding is great, and that's it. That's it, right? That's the best I think at this point that we can hope for. But all right, guys, Josh, are we good?
Yep, we're good.
All right, guys, as always, if you don't mind leaving a like, comment, more than anything, please just comment something below. Let us know what you think, and then don't forget to ring that notification bell. And until next time, see ya.